Yeah, buddy. 2-week vacation. Now we are back, everyone. Oh. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Ryan Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, guys, if you're new to this podcast, welcome. Hopefully I didn't scare you off too bad. What we do on this podcast is we'll take a look at some of the movies coming out every single week, and we'll take an actor, director, genre, actor, actress, whatever, and we will make a top 5 list according to that, honoring said movie. And the cool thing about the show is that me and Brian part ways. We don't talk to each other for 7 days, and we hate each other. And then we come back for Saturday, and we're like, we give our list, and we don't know each other's list, and that's the cool thing. And this is also live, which means we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths. So, yeah, and before we begin, if you're watching on YouTube and you want an audio-only version of the podcast, the link will be in the description below. And, hey, if you're listening on Spreaker and you want to see what we look like, finally, I guess, after a year, the link will be in the description below for that video version. Yeah, so welcome to the show, guys, and we are not alone. We have a guest. Brian went out of his way to find someone that can actually tolerate me and him. That is fantastic. It is actually Anthony from The Random Mind. He does movie reviews as well. I've been subscribed to him for quite a while, and when Brian said who he got, I was like, oh shit, I remember he was like one of the first guys I subscribed to on YouTube, because I started like in 2011 or whatever, and I was just like, this little frail little kid. I'm just like, oh god, yes, I want to watch all these movie reviews and stuff, and I had no idea who to turn to. Anthony was one of them. So, Anthony, how you doing, man?
I'm doing swell.
Swell.
Thank you for those kind words. I didn't know I had an impact in that sort of sense, but yeah, I can't believe it's 2011 since I started that. Yeah, but I'm Anthony, for all those who don't know me. I haven't really been doing that much on YouTube lately, except for tributes and whenever I feel like talking about a film, but I'm glad to be on this podcast talking about one of my favorite actors. I don't want to ruin the moment yet, so I'm going to let you guys take that away.
Hey, no problem, man. And, hey, don't be so fucking modest. This is a guy that has over 2,000 subs, okay? Apparently, some people like him. Unlike me, where I get like maybe one subscriber a year. So, Brian, how are you doing, man? What's going on with you?
Not much. I went to my college orientation a few days ago. It was pretty whack, and yeah. How are you, Chase?
Oh,
Yeah, just
I haven't really done anything today, so I just did my video for We Live Entertainment, and I just like sat there for like 4 hours staring at the wall, because that's what I do on Saturdays. So yeah, I'm doing okay, but yeah, I'm really excited to get this podcast started, because like what Anthony said, it's his one of his favorite actors. And so Brian, what are we doing this week?
We are honoring one of the greatest actors, like Anthony said, of all time, Mr. Matt Damon.
Matthew Damon. That sounds really English, and it sounds very proper. So we're not going to ever say that fucking name again. All right. Yeah, no, Matt Damon, man. I gotta be honest with you. The first time I ever saw him on screen, not even joking, is when he was buried in Team America World Police. I remember I was 14 years old, and I took my mom to see it, which was already strike number 1. Sorry. But as soon as like all the parts came up where they were making fun of the celebrities and stuff, I was like, oh, that's cool, they're making fun of Matt Damon and stuff. But I had never seen a Matt Damon film in theaters, which was fucking crazy. I didn't even see my first one until 2007, I believe, is when that movie came out. But I'm not going to spoil that because that's on my list. So yeah, I think he's a very versatile actor. Whenever he pops up, I get excited and stuff. He's kind of got the same effect on me as like a Ben Affleck or something, because Ben was never really like on my radar like back in the day, but now he's like really prominent. He's kicking ass, and so is Matt Damon and stuff. So they kind of both have done the switch on me and whatnot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this in honor of Jason Bourne, which, by the way, before we begin, I had never seen any of them. I actually binge watched the first 3, and I saw the new one today. So I watched 4 movies in the past 3 days. So I did my homework. But
that's intense viewing right there.
That's like fucking 8 hours of intensity. I feel like I'm like on cocaine still. So Anthony, since he's your favorite actor, why is that, and why is he an actor that draws to you?
Well, so when I first movies were more than just, you know, sitting in a theater and just like kind of just zoning out from the real world for a little bit, and I started realizing that they could be more than that. I saw The Bourne Identity when I was really young, and at that time they were making like really shitty James Bond films with Pierce Brosnan towards the end of his run as James Bond, and like, you know, I still like them because as a kid you don't really think about the technicalities of films, but then I saw The Bourne Identity and it just felt so real. Like, I watched the entire film and I just felt like this could happen. And with other films, I always it's going to happen. It's just totally over the top. And then the sense of realism that The Bourne Identity gave was just unparalleled to anything I had seen at the time. And I thought Damon really, you know, like hit it home with that role. There was a bunch of he also like fit a certain style as to what I was into at that point in my life. There was these action figures. One company was called Action Man, and it was like this guy with like a tattoo that has like a giant M on it in orange, and he had like a scar right here, and like it was one of the biggest TV shows in like 2002 or 2001. And then there's also Max Steel, which apparently they're making into a movie now. And I was just really big into like G.I. Joes and stuff like that, and he kind of fit the quota of that, and like combined all the stuff that I just said, and I just thought Damon did such an excellent performance. He really conveyed the mystery and the like uneasy feeling of this character in the beginning of the film, and then from there, I saw Bourne Supremacy. I was actually, it's very funny. Every film since Identity, I've always been on vacation for when they come out. With the Bourne Supremacy, I was in Mexico. With Bourne Ultimatum, I was in Disney. And for the newest Jason Bourne film, I'm in California. I have never been home when these movies come out. And it's just a weird coincidence. But I really think that because of my love for Matt Damon films. Also, I saw Ocean's 11 at the same time, and just cycling through all of his films. Also, The Departed is one of the first elevator films I've ever seen. So all of this like nostalgia and sentimentalism kind of plays into why I like him so much.
Yeah, I mean, he can pretty much do anything. He can do comedy. He can do action. He can do
Stuck on You, great film.
Yeah. Oh, God, that fucking movie. Yeah, no, he can do a little bit of everything. I guess the only thing we haven't seen him do is, horror maybe? But then again, Dogma was kind of like a weird horror comedy, so I don't know. But yeah, other than that, like he's can pretty much do anything. So Brian, what about you? What do you think of when you think of Matt Damon?
Well, for me, it's like what you just said, Chase. Like, he's so versatile, which makes him so... That's the thing I love to see in many actors, like Anthony Braub, how, like, he did all this action stuff at his prime, and, like, I love seeing him in pretty much anything, like the comedies, the dramas, the actions, the thrillers. I mean, he's got that Great Wall movie coming out next year, which looks crazy, and I just love how much range he has as an actor. I actually consider him to be my second favorite actor working today behind DiCaprio, so, I mean, he's very high up on my list as well. And I grew up with Matt Damon. I can't really remember the first movie I ever saw with him, but I always heard his name when I was younger, probably because so many kids my age watched Team America as well, which is weird. But I mean, I didn't see that movie until I was like probably the same age as you, Chase, when you saw it, 14 maybe. So.
But you didn't see it with your mom, so you know your experience is better.
No, I did not see it with my mom. She would have probably if I was your age when I saw it, like, in the theater, she probably would have taken me out. She probably would have just said, let's go, we're leaving now.
I don't think you understand, like, this was 12 years ago.
I understand. No, I understand.
Brian, it's been 12 years, and I still haven't brought it up in front of my mom yet. Like, we just left the theater like, that never happened. We're not going to say a word.
I think that's funny, but no.
I'm fucking 26 years old, and I still haven't brought that up for my mom, so...
I think that's funny. But yeah,
of course you do, because it's not your fucking mom. So
I know. But
yeah,
still, yeah. Matt Damon, excellent.
Yeah. I'm really excited to talk about him and stuff. And looking at my list right now, I got a slew of different ones on there and stuff. And even he's done a lot of great ones to where I was actually kind of sad that I didn't put some of them on there because you're only limited to 5. But we'll mention the honorable mentions. With that being said, let's jump into number 5. So, Anthony, I have to ask you the pivotal question of every single week on the show. What is your 5th favorite Matt Damon film of all time?
Well, so I just mentioned it briefly while I was talking about why I like Matt Damon, but in terms of all his performances, I had to narrow it down. So number 5, I have Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11, he plays Linus Caldwell, a pickpocketing schemer who teams up with the likes of George Clooney and Brad Pitt, and they plan to rob a casino. A little brief plot line for those who haven't seen the film. I think putting Damon in this role was appropriate for many reasons. One, because he nails it. Two, it played into what he was doing at the time. Like, I think Ocean's 11 came out a little bit ahead of time before The Bourne Identity was released, because I think The Bourne Identity was in 2002 and Ocean's 11 was in 2001. But like at that time, he was just like known as guy. I know that the role originally was supposed to be offered to Mark Wahlberg. Just imagine that for a little bit. But I think he just like fits the role, and it also is very interesting of how the dynamics work, because you have the likes of George Clooney and Brad Pitt, who at the time were very established stars. And I feel like the casting was so appropriate because Matt Damon was still coming into his own as like the A-lister at this time, when you already have these two A-listers who their characters are the top dogs of Ocean's team, who are then training Matt Damon's character, who's an up-and-comer as the character, but also an up-and-comer as an actor in real life. So I think that film just plays in so much to him as the person at that time, and also I think he just really understood the role. He understood like the dry humor whenever he had to deliver it, and he's just, I don't know, he just really did it for me in that film out of all the actors there.
Yeah, I've actually never seen any of the Ocean movies at all. But you have convinced me, because what I really like about what Damon does well is that he can blend in with a humongous cast but still stand out, as you can tell from probably many of our selections on this list. That's just what he does, and since you sold it to me that way, I'm gonna totally check it out, because hey, listen, I had no interest in seeing the fucking Bourne movies, but then young Brian over there was like, yo, get on that shit. And I was like, okay. And so I finally did it after a whole, 2 years of talking to the guy. So, and I really enjoyed the movie. So I think after you convinced me that Ocean's 11 is pretty great, I think I will check it out. So
marathon, because they're about to do like a reboot with all female.
Yeah.
Oceans. So like, definitely watch those before you see the new one, so you know what you're in store for.
Yeah, because I don't want to watch that one and be like, I have no interest in seeing the other ones now because I've seen the female one. No, it sounds great, man. I love me a good heist film, so I will definitely check it out. So, Brian, what about you, man? What's going on with that number 5 slot on your list?
I'm picking a film that not a lot of people will appreciate, and it's weird because when I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score, I'm like, why is it this low? I mean, it's not like super low, but it's like so mixed. I think it should be like in the 70s or 80s. My number 5 is Elysium. I didn't expect much from it going into it. The only reason why I saw it was because of Matt Damon. That's it. That's really it. That's the only reason why I saw this movie. He was bald, and I'm like, well, hey, he looks like my father. Sure, why not? And I love the story. I mean, he's just a guy living the shittiest life, and something happens to him, and then he has to go to Elysium to get himself cured. I love pretty much everything about this movie. Like, the visuals are amazing. Charlotte Copley is the standout of the film. If you dislike this film and did not like Charlotte Copley, then there's something wrong with you. Charlotte Copley was easily the biggest highlight of the film, in my opinion, but Matt Damon was amazing as well. The only thing I did not like about this film, and I said this when I wrote a review, I hated every second with Jodie Foster because her accent was so fucking annoying and her dubbing was so off to the point where this movie I actually saw with my mother, and I kind of like threw my drink at the screen. No joke, that actually happened. I'm lucky I didn't get kicked out of the theater. My mom didn't care that I did it, and I'm like, why didn't you yell at me? She's like, I don't care, and I'm like, all right, Mom, love you. And no, but everything with Jodie Foster sucked, but everything else in this movie was great. It was heart-pounding. It was engaging. I love Elysium. I think it's a pretty underrated film. I like it more than District 9, personally. I haven't seen that.
Ooh, that's big
Fappy
praise.
or whatever it's called. Fappy, Chappy, whatever the fuck that thing
Fappy?
Oh wait, no, I have seen it. I'm just trying to forget that I saw it. Yeah, Elysium was my number 5.
Cool, and before we move on, Brian, your microphone sounds like Optimus Prime gurgling some dick in the back of a bathroom, so check that out, please.
Okay.
Unplug it and plug it back in. All right, so my number 5, that's an interesting pick. Here's the deal. I thought the movie was fine. I thought it was okay. I wouldn't say it's like one of his best, but then again, my number 5, you guys might fucking look at me and be like, you idiot. So my number 5, I'm going to go with one where it was my second Matt Damon film I ever saw in theaters. I know what you're thinking. What's wrong with me? I don't know. There's a lot of things wrong with me. But for this, I thought it was like a really kind of cool romance film that almost had like a Twilight Zone type of feel to it. And I almost don't want to spoil anything because it's just that journey of going through with the characters and whatnot. I'm going to go with The Adjustment Bureau. I don't know how you guys think about it, but when I saw it in theaters, I was like, this is a pretty damn good little movie, and I like Matt Damon and Emily Blunt's chemistry quite a bit. And like I said, don't want to spoil anything. I'm just going to say that they're lovers, and someone tries to stop them. And like I said, it was like a weird, episode of the Twilight Zone. I was totally fine with that. So it was like a sci-fi romance. There was a lot of intrigue and mystery there, so I really enjoyed it. But that's all I really want to say because I don't want to spoil it. So, gentlemen, tell me why I'm wrong.
I totally thought you were going in a different direction with that one. I thought you were going to choose the, well, I don't want to say it yet, but the one that was directed by Clint Eastwood.
Oh, Hereafter?
Yeah.
I never
thought
saw
you
that
went with
one.
that one for a second, but Adjustment Bureau is a great choice. Story with that, I didn't see it in theaters because I thought it kind of looked like shit, and I was just like, I don't want to watch a movie with Matt Damon that's shit because like I just want to idolize him as Golden Boy. So then I saw it on cable, and I liked it a lot. Like I gave it a 7 out of 10. Again, I agree with you. Not the most amazing film of all time, but it kept my interest.
Yeah.
And I thought at first when I heard about the whole thing, I was just like, this seems so weird. This it's got the Untouchables text going on.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt and Matt Damon just don't seem like they would have good chemistry, but I was totally wrong. I liked the movie a lot, and I thought it was original. It was trying something new in a world full of films where they're just so by the books. So I appreciated the fact that it was trying really hard to make something stand out when everything else was trying to be the same thing.
Well, you know what's really fascinating about it is it's based on a short story, but it, like you said, it felt original. It felt really fresh and kind of unique amongst the landscape of movies that came out. And I think I didn't pay for it because I think this is during the time of when I worked at the movie theater, so I think I saw it for free, and I liked it. It was nice. So Brian, would you like to pass on this, or would you like to talk about it?
It's not on my list. I like that film too. I was surprised by it as well, and yeah, it introduced me to Emily Blunt, so that's
true.
That's a delight. I mean, that's a delight.
That's a delight. Hey, thanks for being sarcastic. All right, so anyways, Anthony, while we're going down the answers, I forgot to tell you, if there's something on your list and it's on someone else's slot that's underneath or whatever, and you want to pass, just say pass, and we'll get to it when you get to it. But
Wait, so if it's on my list, then I think it might be on your list?
well, like say like when I said the Adjustment Bureau, if yours was if you had it on your list and it was like higher than number 5, you just say pass, and you can talk about it when we get to that slot.
Okay. I think you guys are probably going to have that before I do, because the next one is probably most likely on your list.
Well, speaking of that, thank you for the segue, Anthony. See, Anthony's going to fucking run the show. You guys are fucking natural. So, number 4, Anthony, what you got?
The Departed.
The fuck?
So, here's the deal. Great performance by him, but it's not my favorite. I kind of went with this in terms of what I think are actually his best performances, but also playing into what are my personal favorites from him.
I'll give you that.
The Departed. Now, there's a lot of debate on whether or not he actually did a good performance, because you see in the comment section all the time on clips of The Departed or reviews of The Departed, it's like, oh, his Boston accent is so fucking awful. It's like all the time. It's like that impersonation was 10 times worse than what he did in the film. But, yeah, I think he did an amazing job because, again, going back to Damon's track record with other films, you never really see him play the anti-hero, so to speak. And, like, he's not even an anti-hero in this. Like, he's basically almost a villain. And, like, I'm not spoiling anything because you'll understand from the trailer or stuff like that. But it's just, like, again, talking about what Brian said, he's very versatile. So it was really different approach from what he usually does. Like, he's generally depicted as like the main protagonist, or he's like the champion of the film. And this one, you know, he is like working for the FBI and doing all this other stuff. And I'm saying other stuff like great word choices, but I'm trying my best to not spoil anything like we were trying to do. But I just think out of all the scenes in this film, he just like gradually just becomes greater and greater and greater towards the end of the film. And then you have that amazing conclusion where he just like owns it, and he's like all the emotions possible that can be taken out of an actor, he just shows in the last 30 minutes of that film. Not even 30 minutes, 20 minutes of that film. And I just think it's one of his best performances. But there are just 3 other ones that I think are really good.
Oh, hey, listen, man, it's your list. I will give you that, but I'm gonna have to pass. Brian, what say you?
I'm gonna pass as well.
All right, so Brian, number 4. Give it to me.
My number 4 may be higher on both of your lists, but the reason why I put it so low is because I haven't seen it in like since last year when I did a Matt Damon episode for my other show, The Film.
Oh no! I know what you're gonna say.
I hate to put it this low. My number 4 is The Bourne Ultimatum.
Oh.
Why?
Hey, guess what? Hey, Brian, guess what?
What?
We have the same slot.
Oh,
so let's talk about it together. Now listen. Like I said, I just binge watched all of the Bourne movies for the past like 3 days, and I'm not as like high on them as like Anthony or Brian. I think they're good movies. I'm not going to go anything beyond that, just because I'm not really like an action fan. So like I enjoy them, I like them quite a bit, but it's not like, oh my god, I love them, I want to fucking own them and watch them over and over again. I might want to watch them again, but not like like. I don't want to watch it soon. So, no, I picked The Ultimatum. I'll go first because Brian's going to say way more about it because I literally just got done watching it last night. The reason why I chose this out of the 3 is because every single movie is the same goddamn thing. It just is. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's executed very, very well, but it's the same damn story over and over again. However, the reason why I liked Ultimatum the best is because you have those smaller character moments where it brings out the emotional state of Jason Bourne. You got the action sequences. You got less shaky cam, dear God supremacy, and you also have his past full laid out at the end of the movie. So I felt like it was the most complete out of the 3, and it was a nice closure to that trilogy, even though I really do like Jason Bourne as a continuation and whatnot. I just think Ultimatum has everything. It's got the action set pieces. It's got less shaky cam, but it's got also those smaller character moments with his backstory explained at the end, kind of just really kind of nice little bow right on top of it. So that's why I went with the Bourne Ultimatum for my pick out of the Bourne series, because I wasn't going to put any more on there except for one of them. But I really did enjoy this franchise as a whole because I believed it. I believed that Matt Damon could kick a lot of ass. I love the visceral nature of all 3 of the films, including Jason Bourne. I love the sense of urgency. It's all great. Ultimatum is my pick. So, Brian, why did you pick this one out of the 3? Because I know you're the biggest fan, and you told me yourself that Identity could be the best one because it's the start of everything and whatnot. So, why did you pick Ultimatum?
Well, because to me, it is the best one in the series. It's the most well done. It's the best edited, the best acted, the best shot, in my personal opinion. And I gotta be honest, like I just got a fun fact. When I first watched these Bourne films, I wasn't really into them because I guess when I watched them, I was a little too young. I think I watched them at maybe like 13, so I didn't really pay attention to like the technicality of stuff,
Yeah,
and
you
I
were
was like,
so
oh, these
young.
are so slow and everything. But then I think like 3 years later, I appreciated them more, which was a good thing, because yeah, and like you said, Chase, everything wraps up so well in the storyline. But like you said, Jason Bourne is a good continuation of this storyline. Although personally, in my opinion, I would have been perfectly happy if this was the last one, and that was their original plan, that this was the last one, and it ended perfectly. I mean, I love how, first of all, I love how it takes place literally like days after Supremacy. I love that. And then, like, in the third act, it picks up where Supremacy ended, which I thought was really well done. I thought that was brilliantly well done. And, I mean, the action is well done. Damon's performance, I think, is better in this one because, like you said, Chase, he starts to learn more about his past, which is a good thing. And, yeah, Ultimatum is one of the best action films of the last 10 years. I mean, it turns 10 years old next year, which is crazy. It's insane. And, yeah, Ultimatum, I think, is the best Bourne film ever made. I don't think there will ever be a Bourne film that tops this. Even if they make more of these, which apparently they will,
Yeah.
I don't think there will ever be one that tops Ultimatum. Ultimatum was one of the best action films I've ever seen. Is my number 4 Matt Damon film.
I will say this. After binge watching them, like I said, I picked up on a lot of stuff, and even though I like Ultimatum the best, my favorite character moment of the entire series so far, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's at the end of number 2 when he's talking to a specific person in a room, and
Yes.
I thought that was the moment where I was like, this fucking character, man.
Yeah.
This guy right here. So
The feels.
yeah, Supremacy has the best moment of his character, in my opinion, but Ultimatum as a whole, like you said, good. So, yeah, so that is our number 4. So that was really quick. So, or wait, I haven't asked. Anthony, would you like to talk about our pass?
Pass.
Oh shit, ladies and gentlemen, a Bourne fan that has a Bourne movie on his list. Fuck me, right? All right. So, speaking of that, number 3, Anthony, take it away.
So, number 3 plays into so many things that I enjoy, like activity-wise, and also just, what I love in movies. And number 3 for me is the movie Rounders with Matt Damon.
Interesting. I've never actually seen Rounders. However, I do like a good card movie, so please sell me on it.
In a land filled with awful poker films or blackjack films or any type of gambling films, because it's really, really hard to make poker or games like that interesting in of itself, and even playing the game in real life. You have the movie Rounders with not only Matt Damon, but Edward Norton, John Malkovich, John Turturro, all-star cast. Damon just really... He's so good at playing roles where he has to be, like, cold-blooded, in a sense. Like, he has to, like, have his, like... He's so good at playing, like, stealthy characters. Not saying this character's stealthy, but he's able to hide his emotions from opposing players, which you have to do in poker, because in the movie it even says, it's like, the game of poker is not playing the game, it's playing the player and being able to psych them out. It's a whole psychological field when it comes to poker. I think Damon, especially with his narration throughout the film, because it's like Fight Club, where it has overall narration, but also just like a continuing story. He is a lawyer who is trying to pay his way through college by playing poker, but he is trying to balance that out, but it's not working out in his favor. So he vows to never play poker again, but because of certain situations, he has to get back in the mix. And I think the character overall of Mike McDermott is really relatable, because in life there are certain opportunities that you have to, and there's certain tasks that you have to do over certain things, and it's just that constant battle of him wanting to do a thing that he loves and is good at, but the overall realization that, with life there has to be certain things that you need to do before what you enjoy in order to survive. And that is what I really enjoy about Rounders, because even though he's such a very well-rounded rounder, he needs to balance that out, and the constant struggle in his character for trying to do what he loves but also trying to make something out of his life is just very interesting to watch. And of course, I just love the way that they captured poker in this film, because it felt interesting. It felt like suave. It felt like you were there playing the game with him. Although people and myself will say John Malkovich at the end is a little bit over the top, but I think it's a very well done film. It's also by the same guy who did the movie Runner Runner with Justin Timberlake and Ben Affleck. That movie was not that good, but the guy who directed this did a great job with this one, but just can't seem to get another hit.
Yeah, like I said, I've never seen Rounders, but I do love me a good card movie, and the key to a good like poker or blackjack movie, that son of a bitch has got to be edited to perfection. Because when you're doing these games, let's face it, they're really not that interesting, so you have to heighten it up by having a really like kind of tight notch on that editing and just the way the camera moves and the way the scenes cut together and the way the actors deliver their lines. It's got to be swift, it's got to be entertaining, and it's got to be engaging. But Rounders seems like a really good movie, so I definitely want to check that out. It's definitely not on my list, so because I haven't seen it, that'd be stupid. So, Brian, would you like to talk about that or pass?
Not on my list. I don't think the film's that great. Personally, I'm not really a poker fanatic, to be quite honest, and I know I should be. There's actually a lot of my friends love poker. I'm just not really into it. It's not my cup of tea. So, I mean, I only watched this movie simply because of him and Edward Norton, because that duo is like the greatest duo ever, and I enjoyed it, but I wish it was a little better in my eyes. Maybe if I watch it again, I'll appreciate it a little more, because I hear that it's better the second time you watch it. That's what some of my film friends told me. So yeah, it's not on my list.
Okay, I mean that's all we could pretty much say about it. So Brian, take it away. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is The Departed.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
There's a poster right there, like Matt Damon's looking at me, and so is Leo and Jack Nicholson. And then below is a Training Day poster, which is great. Crooked people, I love it. Yeah, Anthony pretty much said everything. It's I mean, Matt Damon in this movie, you just don't know whether you like him or hate him, but his performance is great. Like, I mean, I never heard anyone say that his Boston accent is bad. Like, I love it. I don't care what people say. I love mocking Boston accents, so I mean, I guess that's a delight for me. And, I mean, it's one of my favorite films of all time. I have the Steelbook right there, and it's beautiful as hell. Yeah, The Departed, it was, I think to be quite honest, I think it might have been the first Scorsese gangster film I watched, and it's ironic, and that's weird because Goodfellas is my favorite film ever made, and I watched that after The Departed, so I mean, that's really interesting. But no, Anthony pretty much said everything. Like, Matt Damon's character, he's kind of like the anti-hero, but close to a villain, and basically in the last 20 to 30 minutes, like, you're just like, holy shit, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're just, like, baffled by what he's doing. Colin Sullivan's a great character, and I think Matt Damon portrayed him perfectly. He's back and forth with everybody, particularly Leo and Jack Nicholson. It's top-notch. I love it. And, yeah, The Departed, if you haven't seen it, please, for the love of God, check it out. It's one of the best films of the last 10 years, and it turns 10 years old this year. Yeah, The Departed, please check it out if you haven't seen it. It's my number 3.
Yeah, I'll pass. So, my number 3... you know, like I said, I'm not like really like the biggest Matt Damon fan. However, I will give credit where credit's due, and when I see a movie that really delivers on all fronts and it shows that he can carry a fucking movie on his back, I gotta give him props. I'm going with The Martian. Now listen, I was interested to see this movie regardless because I thought the trailers looked really cool. I like the collective cast and whatnot, but I'm a sucker for like any type of survival movie or like stranded out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Castaway, come on, fucking Wilson, Wilson.
The Gray with Liam Neeson, that movie.
Exactly. Jesus, who would have thought you'd cry over a goddamn volleyball? All right, so The Martian, I liked it for a number of things, but most importantly, he drives the movie. I mean, there's not many actors that can play a role and literally drive the movie all the way to its finish line and be invested in the character, be invested in what's going on, and you really want him to survive. And what I really liked about this character, and I know everyone said in the review, I said it myself, but I'll say it again, It's the optimism. Because most characters that are portrayed in survival mode like that, they're very dour. They're very like, I'm going to fucking die if I don't get out off this island or whatever. Like, I get it. You're in panic mode. Who fucking wouldn't be? However, the fact that he's out in space and he's got it far worse than anyone else, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make it work and figure it the fuck out. So he's very optimistic in the very beginning and throughout the middle of the movie. But towards the end of the movie, you see him break down. You see him be more and more human. You know that he's going to have a little bit of fear behind those eyes. It's not, he's not just optimistic, fucking happy all the time. Like, he is scared. And that's what I really liked about it. It's a very well-rounded human character that anyone can kind of grapple onto and be like, yeah, I see myself in that role. I see myself in many bits and pieces throughout the movie and stuff. He's got the optimism. He's happy. He's sad. He's funny. Towards the end, he gets a little worried and stuff. Like, it's amazing. It's a really great human performance of survival. And come on, it's a really great epic movie in general. If you guys did not see The Martian last year, what are you doing with your life? There's really nothing more to say. It's a great survival tale. It's one of the most human characters he definitely plays throughout his entire career. That's why I'm going to go with The Martian as my number 3. Would you gentlemen like to talk about it?
Brian, I'll let you go first.
I'll pass.
Okay.
Okay. You put The Departed below that? Okay. Whatever, Brian. Whatever you say.
So, The Martian. Fantastic film. I love it.
Oh, it's not on your list.
I like it a lot. I gave it a 9 out of 10. And I think I definitely didn't think it was perfect, but very close. The Martian. I was very hesitant when I went into this film because, spoiler kind of for Interstellar, when I saw him in Interstellar and I saw him in like the space setting, I didn't buy it at all. And then I agree. I saw this new movie coming out by Ridley Scott, The Martian, and like I was just like, originally I didn't even know what The Martian was. I thought it was gonna be like a story of like, oh, Matt Damon's on Mars and he finds like an alien and then he has to like, and I was just like, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought the whole movie was gonna be about. And I saw the trailer and I was like, this kind of looks interesting. Like they got some comedy going, they got a really good soundtrack. It's reminded me kind of like up peppy type thing. I totally like what you said. With survivor films, I love survivor films. They always go the dark route, so it's kind of hard. Like, it was really interesting to see a different take on it. I'm sure there's been movies where they've done this before, but it's just, I never thought about it like this, but the optimism from this character really shines. And like, even though some of the jokes don't really land at certain points, like he says some funny stuff throughout the film, but there are some jokes that are just like they're kind of reaching for comedy, but it doesn't really pan out that well. There are some really genuine moments here. The movie also reminded me a lot of the film Moon with Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
Moon is the dramatic version of The Martian, and The Martian is the comedic dramatic version of it. I really think it was a great film. I love the entire cast. If people are still complaining about diversity, watch The Martian because you got Michael Pena, you got Kristen Wiig, you got Jeff Daniels, you got freaking Sean Bean, you have Childish Gambino, you have so many different great talent behind this film, and it's just overall so fun to watch.
Yeah, and to go on that point just real quick, like when you watch like a survival movie, you want them to get out of that situation, but it is kind of hard to be on their side when they're always just so dour because you want them to be like, come on, man, you just be a little optimistic. You got this. Like you as an audience are pushing them forward. However, in The Martian, the fact that he is very uppity and he's very optimistic, it actually makes you more on his side to get out. Like, you're just like, yeah, you fucking do your thing. You grow those shit potatoes. You eat them. You survive, and you get out of there, Matt Damon. I believe in you because
I think that's the reason why The Martian works in terms of like the other films that we've seen, like Gravity.
Yeah.
Like when you see Gravity for the first time, you're like, holy shit, special effects are off the wall. But then like you start watching it again, and you're just like, but it's kind of boring the second go around because the character is not really doing that much to make you like them.
Yeah.
It's just a straight film, and that's it. So when you're watching it for a second time, you're just like, there's no really replay value unless you're totally just wanting to watch it for like the grandiose scale of that film. But The Martian is a fit, like, because here's an example. I showed Gravity to a bunch of my friends. They fucking hated it because they're the type of group that needs excitement. They don't really go for the dramatic types. Like, they need excitement when they're watching stuff. But then we watched The Martian, the exact same group, and they loved it because like it's such a different parallel in comparison to Gravity. It has comedy and the character you like understand.
Yeah, no, and you have to give that character props. The fucking guy is across the galaxy with no help, and yet he's still like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, I'm going to shit on this potato, and we're going to be good to go. He didn't really do that, but when you watch the movie, you'll get it. So, yeah, I like The Martian quite a bit, and like I said, as I was going through the list, I was like, it just stuck out, you know? I was just, you know, now my Boston accent's coming out. It just stuck out, you know? You fucking, you know, The Martian and shit. So, I'm from Texas, everyone. All right, so that is my number 3. Guys, we're getting into our top 2. Now, Anthony has bumped a Bourne movie, and Brian has bumped The Martian. Now, I'm going to take a wild guess, because I've never met Anthony in my life, but as Brian knows, I guess 100% right all the time, and then Brian cries in the corner after each episode. So, I'm going to assume Anthony's got a Bourne movie as his number 1, because you know, it's like he said, that's what started him in that Matt Damon journey. And I seriously think that Brian's going to put The Martian as his number 1. So with that being said, let's go to number 2, and hopefully I'm right. Anthony, what is your number 2?
Good Will Hunting.
Oh, so, look at that, Brian. I'm right.
Yeah, half right.
So, Good Will Hunting. As we were just talking about through the various other amounts of films that we were just talking about, versatile is an understatement for this character role because it's a brilliant coming-of-age film, Good Will Hunting. It's a story of, like, no matter what your situation is, if you work hard and if you actually want to succeed, you can. And I just think that in terms of acting-wise, he is so great in this film because, like, there's such low points for this character where you feel for him and you're almost on the verge of tears because there are probably certain situations that you can relate to or apply to your real life where you're just like, holy crap, this is like really serious. And then there's moments where his sarcastic humor just comes out and you die of laughter. Like when he's talking to all the psychiatrists and he doesn't give a fuck about them and he's just like playing with the fact that psychiatrists can't properly analyze Will Hunting because he's analyzing the shit out of them. It's such a brilliant scene because you don't really see that. When you think of a psychiatrist scene, you just think of, you know, really going deep into the recesses and expressing my emotion. But you have this sarcastic character going through like 5 other psychiatrists by playing off them, and they're totally not aware to what's going on until like he really nails it into them. The scenes when he's with Robin Williams feel so genuine, especially that moment where they're talking about farts. Because, like, people talk about farts all the time, and, like, I feel like movies are so scared to, like, do that all the time. Like, they're scared to, like, really dive into what people actually talk about during real-life conversations, and people probably think, oh, they're talking about poop. Cool. But it's really funny, and it's genuine, and, like, the laugh and most of what goes on in that film, it just feels so genuine on his part. I mean, he wrote the damn thing, so if he couldn't pull this off, I don't know who could, to be completely honest.
I am going to pass. Brian?
I'm going to pass as well.
Oh, shit! Oh, my God. I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked, Brian. Because your number 2 is The Martian. So, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so why did you bump your favorite movie from last year down to your number 2 slot?
Because to me, this isn't the best Matt Damon film. Like, that's the thing. my number one is the best film that he's ever done, in my opinion, period. The Martian, I did not expect it to be my number one, to be quite honest with you, because when I saw the trailers, I mean, I was looking forward to it, but I went in with a little skepticism because of Ridley Scott. Because Ridley Scott's recent films have been bleh. Like, Counselor fucking is one of the most disappointing things I've ever seen in my life.
Stop bringing that shitty-ass movie up.
And that's the last time we'll ever hear that. And then Exodus was gah. But then with The Martian, I was like, you know, this looks slightly good. And then it started coming out like at festivals and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, it's fantastic. And I'm like, well, shit. I'm surprised, but not really, because Ridley Scott has made good films. So then I saw it open at night with 4 of my friends. We went in 3D. We paid like $15, and it was worth every penny. I loved the film. It was, I mean, look, is it a comedy? Not entirely. I consider it a dramedy. And, I mean, obviously when Ridley Scott went up to the stage when the film won the Golden Globe, he was like, a comedy? Bleh. Like, I mean, I would have the same reaction too. And I laughed a lot. Matt Damon, I'm glad he got an Oscar nomination for this film. I mean, it was Leo's year last year, so he really couldn't have won. But I would have actually, if The Revenant did not come out last year, I would have been totally fine if Matt Damon ended up winning an Oscar. And I know that may be a biased opinion, but I really would have been fine if he won.
He wouldn't have won, though, because Fassbender was the next...
True. That is true, but like I said, if Matt Damon ended up winning, I wouldn't have been mad, because I love the guy, and the performance was great. It was something so different for him, because I don't think I've ever really seen him do a comedy. Well, actually, I have seen him do a comedy, but not like the way The Martian was. So, I mean, yeah, that's a good thing. And yeah, like you said, it's quotable, it's energetic, it is a long film. It clocks in at like 2.5 hours, and I can honestly rewatch the film over and over again. I bought the Blu-ray. I think I watched it like 2 times that week, and I've rewatched it numerous times since because it just came out on HBO not too long ago. And I really love it. I got my parents to go see it. My mom was going to go see it, but my dad was kind of skeptical because my dad's not really a sci-fi film fanatic, and my dad loved the crap out of The Martian. Like, he loved it. He's like, Brian, The Martian, it's great. And I'm like, I know, Father. That's why I told you to go see it. And, I mean... yeah, like, it's like what you two said. The guy's on Mars. He's far away from home. He has no help, but he's so optimistic. And I don't know how I would be if I was on Mars. I probably would scream and just cry. But he remains optimistic. And then when you get to the third act, like, he starts getting really terrified, and it's actually really heartbreaking. And because of that, Matt Damon pulled off the character Mark Watney so well, and the quotes, just I can't stop thinking of the quotes. I'm gonna die up here if I don't stop listening to that goddamn disco music. I will not turn the beat around. Like, I mean, I love The Martian. I know I wanted to put The Departed above it, but because of my huge love for The Martian, I just had to put it in number 2. If that's understandable to both of you.
Sure. I mean, it's understandable. Yeah. So yeah. My number 2. I'm gonna go with The Departed, only because that was the first movie I ever saw with him in theaters. And not only am I a Scorsese fan, but I'm also a fan of all 4 of those guys. Like, when you have a DiCaprio, a Nicholson, a Damon, and a Wahlberg in the same movie, come on, man. Like, that, you're just setting yourself up for greatness. And I think the movie as a whole works. I think everyone's role works. And just to trail back what Anthony said about Ocean's 11, Matt Damon works very well in ensemble casts while still standing out. He's among some of the best actors working today, and he still stood out his own ground. And now, I will admit, as watching it when I was 16, I did get Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon confused in the movie because they kind of looked the same. Sorry, but as I was watching, I was like, yo, when did the fucking Wonder Twins come on screen? I forgot who was who. But I actually did for a couple minutes because I guess I was zoned out. But as far as like a movie as a whole works, I really love gangster films. I love anything from Scorsese, and the fact that Damon was in a Scorsese film just makes it so much better. The movie as a whole is one of my favorites, and just him as the addition works really well. I'm going movie as a whole over performance until we get to my number one. But as a whole movie, it's one of my favorites he's ever been a part of. So that's why I'm going to put The Departed as my number 2. So, guys, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. The favorite ones of this young gentleman's career. Now, I'm really curious as to what Mr. Anthony's going to pick. Because I know he's going to pick a Bourne movie. But I don't know if... Because he could have fooled us when we talked about Ultimatum. He said he wanted to bump it, but he could also throw Identity in there. I have no idea which route he's going to go. So, Anthony, I must ask you, what is your favorite Matt Damon film of all time? Are you going to go with the one that started the franchise or the one that ended with a great trilogy?
So, my number one Matt Damon film is Stuck on You. No, I'm kidding. So,
holy shit!
No, I'm kidding.
That would have been the greatest plot twist of any podcast history.
No, it's not Stuck on You. It's The Bourne Ultimatum.
Oh, okay. So you went with the closer instead of the opener.
And I wasn't going to do a list where it was like, oh, you know, Bourne, Ultimatum, Identity, and Supremacy, because that would take up the whole list. So it's like, only
You could have.
I could have, but like that would have been not interesting at all. So, you made a comment earlier saying that Brian was the biggest fan of the Bourne series. I'm going to have to take ownership that I believe that I am the biggest fan.
Yeah, Anthony's definitely... I have to agree with this. Anthony's definitely the biggest Bourne fan I've ever known. I've never known anyone that big into Bourne, I think, ever.
So what you're saying is I nearly gave you a heart attack when I said I never watched them before until like this week.
Well, you should have watched them a long time ago, Chase.
Yeah, I should have, but I didn't.
I wasn't... because the amount of times people have told me that they haven't watched it, like, it's kind of, like, faded my reaction of just like, what? It's like, it's one of those films until recently became a franchise. Like, if they never realized how successful those films were, no one would be talking about it right now. Like, I'm looking at all this stuff on YouTube recently, and everyone is just trying to cash in so hard on this franchise right now, and not even the studios, although they're the main culprit in this. But, like, the top movie reviewers, Joe Blow Network, the Cinefix, all these people, like, where was all this praise when these films came out previously? Exactly. You're now only talking about it just because it's relevant. So, like, that was kind of a big thing for me. I was just like, you guys, you're bandwagons. Like, there's But getting off that rant, here's the thing. I'm going to crack my knuckles. The character of Jason Bourne is super unique. There's bits and pieces that could be, you know, thought to be taken from other characters, and like there's definitely been amnesiac characters before. Wolverine. I mean, there was an original Bourne Identity TV movie back in the 70s. So, I mean, it's just so unique. He's washed up into the Mediterranean Sea. He is an assassin who doesn't remember he's an assassin, and he's completely unaware of this fact, and he's trying to figure out how to just go about life, but he is thrown into the mix of this world that he doesn't want to be a part of anymore. Sure, if he was, you know, cognizant of what he had done in the past, maybe he'd be totally fine with it because that was his job title, but being almost a newborn baby in a sense of not really knowing who he is, it's so interesting. And like there's so many posts, and like they're so beautiful. It's just like on Tumblr there's this post, it's like, why do I like the Bourne series so much? It's like it's got the picture of Identity, Supremacy, and Ultimatum. It's like, I love these movies because the character's trying to figure out himself at the same time where I'm still trying to figure out myself. And I think that's such a cool quote. It's not mine, but it's from somebody else. The movie's not Hollywoodized either.
Nope.
You see so many films where they do an action film or they do a spy film, and it's the same clear-cut thing every single time. And like, there's a romantic interest. There's big-ass car chases. There's, you know, like big-ass car chases where nothing really matters. In Bourne films, when there's a car chase, there's a reason as to why there's a car chase. Debatable for Jason Bourne, the recent one that just came out, but there's always a reason as to why something's going on. Also, the film is just like poetry to me. What you were saying before of how the films are kind of repetitive and they're kind of the same thing. It's the same thing when people praise Star Wars for, like, you know, there's certain imagery or cinematography that when you watch it, you're like, oh, they're paying homage to, like, the first film. Like, in Bourne Ultimatum, there's so much of that. There's so much of identity and supremacy cinematography and moments that are, like, repeated but done tastefully. It's not like carbon copy, we're just going to do this again because it worked. It's just like a situation that they could apply certain aspects of the previous Bourne films into it, and it's just so tastefully and beautifully done. It's, again, like poetry. Damon's performance is just so well done because, like, really weird example, but like the show Adventure Time, the character grows up with you as the films proceed. In the first film, you see him trying to figure things out. He actually smiles in the first film a couple times. He's more energetic, he's more willing to talk to people, and he actually seems like a genuine every average day Joe who just so happens to be an assassin. By the time it comes to Supremacy, he's having all these really bad memories and trying to figure it out, and he's just really getting darker. With any sequel, it's always the darker one. And then by Ultimatum, his character is completely shut off. There was this one post I saw, it was like, Kristen Stewart has more emotion than Jason Bourne. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. If you pay attention, you realize the fact that he has no emotion is because he's so sick and tired of what has transpired in the past two films. So there's a reason why he barely talks and has zero to no emotion. He's stone cold and so sick of this and just wants to be released and free from this plot that he's in. And I just think it's so unique and different, and now they're really trying to turn it into something that it's not. What you guys said earlier about how the film was done. The series was finished and complete with a nice bow on top. It was done at Ultimatum. There are several interviews, if you go back, Matt Damon saying, I would love to do another one, but there's really nothing we can go from here. And I think they should have stuck that way, because then you have Bourne Legacy, which was terrible, because the idea of even doing a Bourne film without him makes no sense. Jason Bourne, although I liked it better the second time viewing it, when I saw it at the premiere, I was like, okay. And then I saw it a second time, I was like, okay, it's better than I thought it was. Because I think they actually updated some stuff from what was shown at the premiere to what they actually show in theaters. I'm big on sound design, so some things just sounded off when I first saw it. But Universal is trying to make the Bourne films a Fast and Furious or an Avengers or something like that. They're trying to milk it and make it a franchise, and it was never that. The reason why the three films work so well and the character works so well is because it felt like a story that needed to be told rather than a story that can make money. And now it's just turned into this really, like, Hollywoodized thing that I'm very content if they never make another Bourne film at this point, because I enjoy Jason Bourne, but I think it finished with Ultimatum and they should have left it that way. So Jason Bourne is Damon's best performance. I think he really grows up with the character, and it really saved his career, because at the time, right before that, he did this film called All the Pretty Horses, which went nowhere, and almost halted his career completely. And then, because Doug Liman took a chance on him, he is now the star he is today.
That one fucking awesome speech. And for the people that think that Kristen Stewart has more emotion than Jason Bourne, if you look at and this is all like fresh inside my mind. So, first movie, there's a lot of joy in Jason Bourne. Look at the way he interacts with Marie. Look at Supremacy, where at the end scene he's got a bunch of guilt, and look at the end of Ultimatum, where he's got a bunch of fear and paranoia in his eyes. So, for all those people that say there's no emotion, go fuck yourself. You don't know what a movie is, and go back to sucking on your mom's tit. All right, so that's a really great pick. I totally agree with everything you just said, and you know what? As a person that waited until my mid-20s to see all three of them back to back, I'm glad I did see them, because as much as I'm not really like a huge action film fan, I can tell you that these are expertly done, even though it is the same thing over and over again. They're really well told. Like that's.
You mentioned shaky cam. I forgot to talk about that.
Oh God! Listen, before you say anything, so I don't mind the shaky cam because I like the urgency and the veracity within the movies. However, Paul Greengrass, I'm glad you got better at it because Supremacy, some of those fight scenes were ridiculous. Like, let's show one shot for 1 second and shake it up. Had no idea what it was. Did it even need to be there? No, not really. Not really, fam. I just put it in there. So Supremacy was definitely the worst one, but he got better at it. But I still like the style, though. But what were you going to say?
I think people are mixing up shaky cam with handheld cam.
Yes.
And here's the thing. The reason shaky cam works in this film is because the whole film is like government-based and espionage and spies, and like you want to feel as if you're a part of it. Because with most spy films, you feel as if you're not really invested because you can't really relate to government or spies like that because like they're so unique and so like there's no possible way of you ever understanding their psyche. So like feeling as if you are right next to Damon with like the shaky movement, like you're in the room with him, really, really works. Granted, I understand the gripes with people about it gives people headaches. I personally never have gotten a headache from watching any of the Bourne films, and I really dig certain action films that use shaky cam to its advantage, because people sometimes run the risk of trying to go past that with still shots, like the movie Haywire. But with that, it just feels so choreographed. Like, and you can tell right away. With the shaky cam, you don't really tell that. Yeah, you can't really fully grasp the punch or anything, but it just feels like you're right there. Because, like, if you were in a fight, your head would be going like this too. It's like that. I think shaky cam in this film is like one of the only uses of it where it properly works, and I feel like it gets a bad rap.
I agree. Like, listen, throughout the entire franchise, it uses handheld cam to its advantage because it grounds the whole thing in realism, and I feel like I'm following these characters on the streets or wherever the hell else they're taking their actions.
Almost documentary style.
Yeah, it's great. I just for Supremacy, for a couple of the fight scenes, a little too much, but he reined it back just a hair. And Ultimatum and Jason Bourne, where I was like, that's it right there. Like, that's good.
Especially Jason Bourne. For anybody who's complaining about shaky cam, Jason Bourne listened to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Film really listened to that gripe.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Besides a couple fight scenes in Supremacy, I don't mind the handheld style at all. I think it really works for this type of environment and stories and stuff. So yeah, Bourne Ultimatum, man. I like I said, I'm glad you guys pretty much made me watch this because I enjoyed it. So, Brian, I gotta be honest with you. We got the same number one. So, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first, but I have to say something before we even do it. Do you like apples? I got our number. How do you like apples?
Fucking awful.
Oh, I could do better than you, Chase. Let's hear your impression. Come on.
Give me that fucking beer, you fucking idiot. Like, there you go. There's my East Coast accent. There you go.
All right.
You like apples? Well, I got a number. How you like them apples?
How you like them apples?
Now that is genuine East Coast. That is genuine.
I'm from the South, you motherfuckers. Calm down.
All right. Okay, Good Will Hunting. One of the greatest films ever made. Like Anthony said, it's one of the best coming-of-age films ever created. I mean, the movie starts off, and you're like, this guy is so fucking cocky. Like, this guy is such a douche to, like, everybody. And then you realize this guy's a fucking genius, but he doesn't want to show it to people, which really pisses me off. At first when I saw, I'm like, why aren't you showing it off? Like, come on, man. Like, you have so much potential in life. And it's like what Ben Affleck's character, Colin, I don't remember, what is that? No, it's something with a C. I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen the film in like a while. Where he's like this, if you don't go and show off that you're smart, I'll fucking kill you. Like, if you come home, I'll kill you. Like, that's what he said. Like, and that's the truth. Like, he needed to show off that he was smart. Like, Anthony said he wrote the film. He co-wrote it with Ben Affleck. So if no one could have played this role as well as Matt Damon, then that's kind of saying to him. But Matt Damon killed it. I mean, he also got an Oscar nomination for his performance, but obviously he won the Oscar for writing the film, which is a delight. Their speech, I mean, their excitement is amazing. Like, one of my favorite Oscar moments in history, in my opinion. And, I mean, his back and forth with Robin Williams, easily one of the best duos I've seen in films in my life. Like, I never expected those two to ever go back and forth together. I mean, Robin Williams with the hairiest fucking arms I've ever seen in my life. Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, like Anthony brought up the farting scene. That scene is amazing. Like, that's a fantastic scene, and it's not your fault. Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Jesus Christ. Just everything, from the writing to the acting to the directing. It's Matt Damon's, like, yeah, Jason Bourne is the best character he's ever played, but to me, Good Will Hunting's the best performance he's ever given, and it is the performance that really got him on the map. Although people say Courage Under Fire got him on the map, that's a good film too. I mean, that performance creeps the fuck out of me because he's so skinny in that film. And, yeah, Good Will Hunting, one of the best films of the 90s, one of the best films I've ever seen. And yeah, well, the late great Robin Williams, I just love that film to death. Good Will Hunting, if you haven't seen it, and if you're a film lover, you need to watch it. Just please check it out. You will be doing yourself something wrong if you have not seen Good Will Hunting. It's my number one. Go ahead, Chase.
Yeah, it's I think this was the first movie I ever saw from him where I was like, hot damn, this guy is a good actor. And what I really like about the movie the most is that him and Ben Affleck both, they play real people. And like they feel like these are guys that you grew up with, and they're stuck in this, podunk town, and, Will's got this great ability that, Ben Affleck is trying to pressure him to be like, hey, listen, man, you need to go do something with your life. Don't, like, that's one of my favorite lines in the movie when he's like, if I see you here in 10 years, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, it's something that we can all kind of relate to. Like, there's a lot of, talent within all of ourselves and stuff, and we don't really push it to our full extent or whatever. And so this movie kind of shows us that. It's something that everyone can relate to and be like, listen, you want to pursue something, you got to fucking go for it. Okay, you can't relax on it, you can't take a day off, you got to just go for it. And that's what the whole movie's about, is that this janitor, and to Brian's point, like, I think the reason why he kept it a secret is because that very reason I just said. He wants to stay in his hometown, he wants to do the same thing day in, day out, he doesn't want to ever challenge himself. He does it in his own little world or whatever, but when someone finds out about it, they pressure him to use that ability to your advantage, and he's like, no, I really don't want to. But then at the end, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna build my life now. So
I think it's his mental state too, with the character, like the trauma he's had. He probably just doesn't think, because, like, I mean, from the psychology classes I've taken, I'm not an expert, but like, it always roots back to parents, and like what you get from the film, you realize his parents really weren't there. Mm-hmm. So like that loving and affection from his parents that was never there, he probably never thought that his genius was adequate or enough. So he just didn't want to show it to people because he probably felt unfulfilled, or he didn't feel like people would care.
Yeah, it's like with the Minnie Driver thing. Like when he says, "I don't think I can love you," like that. It's like what you just said. Like he feels like because of the love that he didn't really get growing up, he can't really show it to other people.
Well, and it's the same way with his friends and whatever with his abilities. When you talk to your friends for many years, you're like, hey man, I'm like super fucking smart. You want to see it? Cool. And they're just like, yeah man, that's pretty fucking dope. You want to go drink some beer? Like that's how his friends are and stuff. And so he's never, like I say, he's never really challenged. And in real life, you can kind of relate to that because your friends are not going to really push you. But when they finally do, that's a really good fucking friend right there. And that's, like I said, I love that whole bit at the end. If I see you here in 10 years, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, that just, it's a very relatable movie. It's very sweet, heartwarming and stuff. That monologue that Robin Williams gives on that bench, good stuff. And there's a lot of emotion within that character, too. Like Brian said, he's very, kind of cocky and calm at first, and he slowly, as the movie progresses, he's slowly broken down and stuff. Like, and you finally get to see the core of his character, and like what Anthony said, like the trauma that he went through and stuff, and that just makes you like him even more. Like, yeah, he's very likable in the beginning, but he does have that kind of cocky attitude. But as the movie goes on, you like him even more, and it's definitely the most likable character he's ever played, definitely the most human, and definitely the most relatable character he's ever played. I believed every single word that was uttered from every single character. I believed every scenario. I believed that these characters existed down the street. That's why Good Will Hunting is my number one as well. It's one of the best, period. So, yeah, that will do it, guys. That is our list. Here it is on the board, the handy-dandy board. This is actually the most that we've ever had in common on this show. Bourne Ultimatum, The Departed, The Martian, Good Will Hunting. There's literally like 4 in common. Not on every single list, but it's still a good hefty number, and that just shows you that Matt Damon's got some classics under his belt, and that's a really good thing as an actor, to where whenever he retires, hopefully that's not too soon, that you can look back and go, those were the handful of movies right there that made him stand out, and he will stand the test of time as one of the greats, especially being an action star with the Jason Bourne series, being in a really cool gangster film with The Departed, being in a really good drama like Good Will Hunting, or hell, he's even got family cred under his belt with the fucking We Bought a Zoo. He can do everything. So he's a guy of many, many talents. So what is your favorite Matt Damon film? Comment in place, rub my face, and let me know. But like I said, he's got a lot of good ones. So let's dive into that. Honorable mentions. I'm going to go first, just real fast, since I don't really have many, and then you guys can do your thing. I don't have a specific movie, but I always like when he cameos in a Kevin Smith movie, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, or he didn't really cameo. He was more of a character in Dogma, or Chasing Amy or whatever. I always liked it when he popped up in those. Let's see, going through the list. You know what? I know people give it a lot of shit. It's a stupid comedy, but I still love Stuck on You. It's one of those movies that you pop in, you're like, I can't believe he did that. But I whatever. Fuck everyone. Let's see. True Grit's pretty good. I mean, it's not like a fantastic remake or anything, but as far as like a Coen Brothers movie goes, it's good. It's fine. Contagion, I really like. I think Contagion's a really cool paranoia movie. The whole scene in the hospital, I still like quoting it because it was in the trailer too. What was it like?
What are you talking about? What happened to her?
What are you talking about? What happened to her?
My favorite part is just like the doctor goes, she did die. Okay, so can I go talk to her? That hit, like you're just like, oh fuck, he's not grasping the situation here. He died, and he's like, that was like so well done on his part. The way he delivers that was so heartbreaking.
Oh, it's great. Like, to be honest with you, I don't remember like any of the movie, but I remember in that moment I liked the whole movie, but like that scene sticks out for sure. Elysium, sure. Interstellar, sure. That's about it, because that's all I've seen. I haven't seen a bunch of them, which I'm sure you guys will get into. So, Anthony, I'll let you go next. What are some of the ones that just did not make your list?
Okay, so I'm cheating here while I'm watching. I'm looking through IMDb because
I was
trying to like get the whole concept. Saving Private Ryan, obviously, even though it's a very small role, even though he is Private Ryan, but
whoops.
Yeah, he gives one of the best improvised bits of that entire film. Thought it was really good. Talented Mr. Ripley, he did a good job, but like it's not his best performance, and I actually didn't really like that movie that much in comparison to other people. What else do we got? We have Stuck on You. I really like. I thought it was a really interesting film. It was the first time I ever learned about conjoined twins, so that was pretty fun.
Right.
Euro Trip, he has a really fantastic.
Someone brings it up.
I just read the whole reason as to why he did that is because the guys who directed Eurotrip were the directors of it went to college with Matt Damon, so like he did it as like a favor for them, and he also just like liked them, so that shows his true nature as a good person. What else? The Informant, great film. He went on record recently saying that a film like that could never be made today because it's such an weird concept and probably would go straight to HBO if anything. Invictus, he pulls off a great South African accent, which I would never have thought Matt Damon would ever do. I like the movie Hereafter a lot with Clint Eastwood, even though the film itself has a lot of holes in it. Again, Contagion is great. We Bought a Zoo is a great family film.
It really is.
And the movie, actually, the Behind the Candelabra.
That's a good one.
That is a really totally off the beaten path of what Matt Damon usually does. Again, versatile, but he just nails it. And like he went so far for that role. He did so many things that I would be very uncomfortable attempting. So those are my honorable mentions. Brian, your turn.
All right. Contagion, Adjustment Bureau, We Bought a Zoo, True Grit. Anthony, did you bring up Green Zone?
Did not.
I've never seen it.
Oh, I think that one's pretty underrated. Oceans 11 and 13.
Oh, I forgot.
Perch on the Fire is, you know what? Fine, I'll put Stuck on You too because I remember seeing it a long time ago and I did not hate it. I just haven't seen it in like 10 years, so I mean...
Can I be honest with you guys? I definitely will probably watch that after we get done recording.
You know what, to be quite honest, I might too.
Because we keep fucking bringing it up, and I'm just like, I really want to watch Stuck on You.
I gotta find that shit, like that's...
Oh.
I would not, but I don't have it with me. So.
Yeah, those are, I think... Yeah, that's it. Oh, and Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, that's it. Those are my...
No, well, the thing is with Saving Private Ryan, yeah, he's the title character, but it's like what Anthony said. It's barely in the movie. Like,
he's only in like 40 minutes of the movie, and that's it.
Can we just like call it what it is? It's Tom Hanks's movie, okay?
Yes.
Like, it's not Matt Damon's movie, and you can say the same thing for The Departed, but at least he has a pivotal role in The Departed. Even though his name is in the fucking title of Saving Private Ryan, he really doesn't do much. So that's why that movie is not on anyone's list, because he doesn't really do anything. He's like a limp, dead fish dick just sitting in the movie, and, you know, like, we gotta go save him. Okay, I'm gonna sit here. I'll wait for you. All right, thanks, Matt Damon, for the line read. All right, so, yeah, no, those are all great picks, gentlemen. So speaking of the shit piles, dishonorable mentions, I'm going through the list on IMDb just like Anthony, so he doesn't feel left out, because I don't know all of them at the top of my head. I gotta be honest with you, I haven't really seen, like, I want to say, like, half of his movies, so I don't have a bad one. Like, because I guess I've only seen, like, either okay ones or good ones or really great ones, so spin it to me, Anthony. Which ones stick out as the shit ones?
Okay, so this is going to be some unpopular opinions, but Brian, you mentioned Green Zone.
Whoops.
Upon watching,
Oh, man.
upon watching Green Zone for the first time, I thought it was a good film. Recently rewatched it like a month ago, and it is one of the most boring films I've ever watched. Like, it just can't grab my attention like it did when I first saw it, and I just don't think it ever will. There's a film called All Pretty Horses that...
Yeah, gross. Please don't put that.
It was like this Western romance film that he was starring next to Penelope Cruz or Salma Hayek. I can't remember. I always get those two mixed up. Ocean's 12 is a really disappointing film in the series, and also I feel like his performance, like what I said before about the Ocean's 11 where he's an up-and-comer, it never really shines like that in 12, and I didn't think his performance was that great. Dogma is also on this list.
Dogma was fine.
Here's the thing. When I talked about The Departed of him playing like the villain, he played kind of a villain-esque character in Dogma, but like it felt so forced, and I didn't really enjoy his performance. The movie itself is good, but his character was it was like yeah, I didn't really buy it. I feel like I would have. I don't know. Wait, am I mixing those two up? Did wait?
Yeah, Ben Affleck was in Dogma.
No, I'm saying like who turns out to be the not so good one?
I don't remember.
I believe it's Damon.
Yeah, I think it's.
He plays Loki.
I think I might be mixing that up. I think Affleck might turn to. I don't know. I just don't think Dogma is his best performance. To IMDb's lists, there. Oh, True Grit.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I like the movie, but Matt Damon sticks out so badly in that film.
Oh.
He definitely cannot pull off a beard. Let's put it like that.
No, he can pull off a beard, but I just thought it was such an odd casting choice.
Compared to Jeff Bridges, yes.
Yeah, it's like you have Jeff Bridges, you have Josh Brolin, who's in No Country for Old Men, and then you have Haley Steinfeld, who's an up-and-comer, but she did fantastic in that film. And it's just like, Damon really stuck out in that film, and not for the right reasons. I just felt like he was a fish out of water. And that would work in other films, but like, here he is playing this really confident cowboy who's like arrogant, but turns out to be like, you know, heartfelt at the end. But I just didn't buy it. The movie itself is good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it, but
I respect that because you're right. Like now I think about it, like you're like Jeff Bridges in a saddle on a horse. It's like yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Haley Steinfeld, she looks like she popped out of a Western book. Matt Damon has got some pubes on his head. So I mean, like I get it. Like it's kind of like a weird choice.
It's the same thing with this new Magnificent Seven film that's coming out. The same thing I just said about Damon, I'm applying to Chris Pratt. That doesn't work. Like,
well, we'll see. I mean, I think he looks fine. I mean, but yeah, compared to like everyone else in the movie, he's definitely the one that doesn't look as gruff as everyone else. So he's a pretty boy. That's what he is. So yeah. So Brian, what about you, man?
I didn't care for Hereafter. I'm sorry.
Oh wow. Looks like we have a battle going on, ladies and gentlemen.
These people were like, "What the fuck is this film?"
Legend of Bagger Vance with him and Will Smith. Come on, garbage. Horse shit. The Pretty Horses. Gross. Promised Land fucking sucks. That movie sucks.
What? I never saw it.
That movie sucks.
It's a genuine film, but it's just boring.
It's too boring. That's the problem, and it had so much potential to be something good. But a film that I'm gonna put as my worst because I was so disappointed with it, because I thought it was gonna be a great film because the trailers, the cast, the director, Monuments Men is my worst.
I haven't seen it yet. I didn't get to see it.
I still haven't seen it.
That one to me had so much potential to be something good because him, Clooney, Bill Murray, John Goodman, was it Kate Winslet or Blanchett? Blanchett, yeah. Like, that cast is amazing. Then Clooney directed it, and you're like, oh, shit, this could be great. And it was fucking stupid. Like, it tried so hard to be something funny, and it didn't even work, and it was so bad. It was disappointing. No wonder why it got pushed to, like, January when it came out. I totally understand why it got pushed back, because it fucking sucked. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Good Shepherd, the De Niro movie, that sucks too.
I haven't seen that one.
Well, geez, great way to kill the end of the podcast, Brian. So yeah, what say you guys that are watching or listening? So what are some of your favorite Matt Damon films, and what are some of the least favorite? Because every actor, actress has got their flaws in their career. So I would like to know. Comment in the place to rub them off face and let me know. So Brian, we have wrapped up Matt Damon. Matt Damon is done. What are we doing next week?
Well, I just brought up the guy, and I forgot that we're doing him next week.
Whoops.
We're honoring him. Next week, Suicide Squad comes out, so we're honoring the film's star, because he's not the lead, in my opinion, even though I haven't seen the film yet. Will Smith. We are honoring Will Smith.
Holy shit. This is going to be interesting. No, I'm not going to put Independence Day on there. I don't know why you guys love that.
Spoiler, I'm not putting it on my list either.
I don't fucking understand. Like,
It wouldn't be on my list.
Anthony, like, do you agree that like Independence Day 1 is like super damn cheesy and like, yeah, it's fun, but like it's not like one of the best movies ever made?
I like the movie Independence Day, but it's not the best. Like,
Okay.
I know people who'd be like, "Oh, Independence Day is the best movie." I was like, "No, it's not. It's really, if you look back on it, there's really some bad stuff in there, but like it's just so quotable and memorable, and at the time the practical effects were amazing to watch, and like that was at the time where practical effects weren't really like that special, and then they showed this and like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. But like nowadays special effects is like as common as brushing your teeth, so I just think it's memorable and nostalgic to people. I don't necessarily think that most people think it's good, although there are people who claim it to be good. I think it's an okay movie. As a popcorn flick, it works so well.
Yeah, you fucking brought that up. So I'm going to go ahead and say this and I'll get off my soapbox. For all you fucking people out there that were like, I was expecting Resurgence to be good. What? Did you not see the fucking first one? They were going to do the same fucking thing and you were so what were you disappointed in? It was the same shit. I don't fucking get people's like, well, number 2 was garbage, and number 1 was, oh, it's such a masterpiece. Let me twist my nipples. It's like, what are you talking about?
Even if people liked Independence Day, them thinking that this sequel, 14 or more years later, was going to be anything inviting, especially in the state of what Hollywood is today, that it was going to be good. What were you thinking? Like, I understand if they liked the first one, but such a long time after. Like there's a certain time frame that you can't go past, and I feel like bringing Independence Day back into fruition was a mistake.
Yeah, I don't understand what the fuck you were expecting, people. It still blows my mind. So before
one last thing on Independence Day, they released it the week before July 4th.
Yeah, that was stupid. What are you doing? What are you doing, 20th Century Fox, you dumb fucks? Before we go and before you plug your shit, Anthony, just give me your real quick thoughts on Will Smith and what you think about him as an overall actor.
So, Will Smith is very entertaining.
Yes.
In terms of acting, I wouldn't say he's the best. He's not awful like some people are trying to say. Like, when After Earth came out, everyone was like, oh, Will Smith's the worst actor in the world. Oh, he's terrible. It's like, there are some really great performances that Will Smith has done over his years. And I also like iRobot a lot, and I know a lot of people who don't. I think he's a really good entertainer. In terms of, like, acting, like, he delivers some really good lines, too. I'd say some of his best dramatic performances, and this is going to sound really weird, but those moments in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where he gets really serious about, like, his dad and stuff, holy shit, was that intense.
It's really, I mean, yeah, you could even argue that, like, some of the parts on Bel-Air were actually better than his whole film career.
Yeah. But he's a great person, and like, he's just... I think the reason people don't like him that much is because he's trying to, like... This will probably be debated by some people, and probably some people are going to be offended what I'm about to say, but he's basically whoring out his family.
I don't think anyone could disagree with that at all.
But, like, that's why people don't like him that much, is because he's, like, enterprising his family. But he does his job well, and, like, he loves what he does, so I can't fault him for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a movie star. That's what he is. I mean, he's charismatic and he can get the job done. I mean, that's basically what can be said about Mr. Willith Smith III. So, yeah, next week, guys, will be Will Smith. It'll be very fun to talk about him, and oh man, he's got some interesting ones. All right, so yeah, we'll see you guys next week for another episode. But before we go, Anthony, would you like to plug anything of your stuff on the medias?
Sure. I mean, I don't really do that much, but so I have the YouTube page is Random Mind. If you want to go check that out, there's some decent tributes in there. I have an Instagram page if you want to follow that. I kind of take pride in that more than my YouTube page. I'm trying to make some worthwhile content on YouTube. I'm not really movie reviewing that much anymore, like Brian is and Chase is, but like if you're looking for an entertaining tribute, or if you're looking for my future video essays where I just really talk about the film and discuss it, not really review it, then, you know, stop on by. But I won't gripe you if you don't.
Well, hey, listen, I already put all of his links in the description below, so if you want to follow him in any of those things, which you should, click on those links, motherfuckers. Brian, what about you? Where can the peeps find you?
Twitter at BrianSets98 and on YouTube at Brian Setfield.
All right, awesome. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at RealChaseLee. And you want to subscribe to YouTube for more horrendous shit, do that. I'm on We Live Entertainment, Spreaker, all that jazz, iTunes. You can find me anywhere. Just Google my name. You'll find a bunch of pornos. I mean, movie reviews. So that will do it for this week's episode, guys, of Top 5 Saturdays Live. And the intro and outro music is done with my friend's band, Fervent Roze. Check them out. Link in the description below. Matt Damon, motherfuckers. That is it for this episode. Let's play the outro music right now. Peace out, everyone. Oh, Matt Damon. Matty Damon.
Matthew Damon.
Matthew Damon. We'll see you guys next week.